particularly in light of any possible consolidations. Did that answer your questions?
Yes, our main concern really is.
And the reapplying, yes, actually, someone asked me, this is the first time I heard about the reapplying was tonight, that someone asked me that, and no, that's not something that, I would like to get through. I feel very strongly that we will get through this consolidation and no teacher will lose their job. Because we're going to have the same number of students, we're going to have a certain number of teachers leave, and I feel like that will balance out.
Okay. Like I said, it's really just about making sure that things are communicated to staff, and that if there is going to be some kind of criteria, that it may be made public to staff.
And I'm glad you asked, because it gave us the opportunity to speak about it. And it's just like the other things that were brought up tonight, because the board has not, they want to take a long time to make the right decision, but yet at the same time, there's criticism because, well, we want to know now. And so they're kind of in an awkward position.
Absolutely, and we completely understand that this is a process, but we just kind of wanted to shed light on the questions we have so that we don't get past that point and then are retracing our steps.
And if you could come up with some more questions that I had there, that'd be okay too.
Okay, thank you again.
Choices, that would be preferences. That'd be great.
Thank you.
Next is Ann Castle Mitchell.
The Waco East Support System and Northeast Riverside Neighborhood Association salute the Waco ISD and the Board of Trustees and its administrative families for continuing to do a clearly superior job here in the city of Waco. Tonight's star-studded cast was as good as it gets. Having worked in 9 different states and having the opportunity to work in Waco during the 2000 and 2001 school year at the G.L. Wiley campus, I am overwhelmed at the caliber of performance being demonstrated here in Waco. I've never seen students look as impressive or have particulars related about them as impressively as was done tonight. The Northeast Riverside Neighborhood Association and the Waco East Support System, deeply, deeply thank you. Your task is difficult. Know that you have our prayers and our support. Certainly, we do not want I graduated from A.J. Moore High. We do not want the academy to relocate. We are hopeful that that can be avoided. However, if it cannot be avoided, then let's work peacefully and remain as successful as we are. Thank you for considering staying in East Waco while this illustrious building was being renovated. We felt extremely proud having you over there. It made us feel really good. We thank you for all that you do, and you have our support. We feel the pain of all of you who are being impacted, but we believe in this board. We have one of the best boards in America. Thank you and bless you.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Williams.
just one question. I missed, maybe I didn't understand. Where did you say we were getting this funding from?
This was coming from the bond issue, the 2008 bond issue.
Well, I had it around the corner way with that. It's a savings on something project that we've had done before. Is that right?
I think this is still remains within the contingency of the bond of the funds set aside to build Bells Hill School.
And so we overestimated. That's the reason why we have the savings.
There were contingencies set aside on the contract to take care of things that arose, and it appears at this point during the contract that we have not had to spend that money. I prefer to look at it as though we've avoided having to spend it. There haven't been any big issues come up on the job. it's gone very smoothly, so we have this money extra to spend.
So we had some extra money. My only idea is that what I'm thinking about it sounds like an extremely good idea. But what we've been talking about here for the last month or so is closing down schools, you know, whether or not teachers be able to keep their jobs and so forth like that. And then here we go and we get a little bit of savings, and I'm wondering if we'd take that money and put it in with our regular, our general fund, we probably could go a little bit further on a tank of gas.
The bond funds can only be spent on buildings. It cannot be spent on anything other than just what we use it to construct buildings with. That's what the,
I realize that, but I'm just realizing then if we just kept it and saved it there, then we would have it for when we really needed an emergency or something. Because I'm understanding that this is only one school, and we have well, let's say over a dozen or so more other schools in the district. And so I just want to say it's a good idea. But in times like these, when everybody's trying to tighten their belts and so forth like that, we're going to find it hard to believe that when we go and ask the public for some more funds, then we'd have a problem with them thinking that, hey, golly, you're just lavishing the money up and throwing it away.
Finally, item 12F, discussion of school consolidation proposals. Dr. Kane.
Yes, we have a summary proposal.
Dr. King, before you go into your presentation, I know there are a number of folks here who've attended some of the workshops that we've had over the last few weeks. A number of you have not had an opportunity to attend those workshops, but in response to some of the comments that were made earlier in the meeting, let me explain where we are in this process, and so everybody understands sort of where we are now and where we're going to. At this point, there's not a proposal. There's nothing to really receive comment on. We have worked through numerous workshops trying to get a consensus among this board to give a proposal or two proposals that we were comfortable with the administration taking out to the community to begin gathering feedback. And we have worked hard. This process started in September with a demographics report that we got in August that is literally 4 to 5 inches thick with data on every neighborhood, every campus, the capacity of the various campuses, the projected enrollment 5 and 10 years out, and this board's worked hard trying to digest that information. We do want your thoughts and your input, and we're serious about that. I want to compliment everybody on this board because I think everybody sitting up here over the last 2 weeks has met with at least 1 or 2 small groups, as various neighborhood associations and other parent groups have begun meeting and providing us feedback. We did meet with the A.J. Moore Business Advisory Board, and we are getting that information. And what's most useful to the board, candidly, is if you have other ideas that you'd like us to look at and consider, if you know of particular considerations that we need to take into account with respect to consolidation of particular campuses, whether those be transportation issues or things we may be overlooking that are unique to that campus, other budgetary savings that you think might be recognized. But this is a process that is really moving towards a budget that we have to adopt this summer, where just to stay where we are, we have to find another $3.5 million in savings. For those of you who don't know, every teacher in this district is receiving the exact same base pay they got last year. They didn't even get a step increase this year. If we want to free up money to give step increases and increase salaries next year to retain our best teachers, we're going to have to find at least another $1 million in savings. And so there are a number of difficult decisions we're going to have to make. And we do want your input. Mr. Seymour, I can assure you, your principal has talked to Dr. Patterson. There's going to be a staff meeting on your campus after the first of the year to talk about the proposals once we finally get to a point of having proposals. And we haven't gotten there. And as I've told folks at the earlier workshops, if we were not a public entity, the discussions we've been having, we would have done in retreats and trying to work among ourselves to to come up with proposals to begin to take to our constituents or our customers. But we're governed by the Open Meetings Act. And so anytime there's a quorum of us present, we post it as a meeting. The public's welcome to observe. We invite you to participate. But at this point, there hasn't been a whole lot to do. We've just been poring over data, trying to get to the point of finally allowing Dr. Kane to get some proposals that we can begin to take out to the community. For those of you who don't know, we have scheduled 5 large town hall meetings in January, 4 in English. 1 will be presented entirely in Spanish. In addition to that, if there's a particular neighborhood association, PTA, other groups that's affiliated with the district, or even loosely knitted groups that have a particular interest, we can't have a quorum of board members present, but we have gone out of our way to meet in small groups, 2 or 3 of us with members of the administration to get that input as well. And all that's being filtered in. I know Mr. Cappy's keeping a notebook of email feedback that we receive, and all that's being utilized by the board. So that's where we are in the process. We hope tonight to maybe at least get it down to 2 broad proposals that we're comfortable taking out to the community. That doesn't mean those are the only 2 options. If we get more feedback in those January meetings, we may be up to a proposal G or H or purple or whatever color we're up to at that point. But what we're going to try to do tonight is at least get to the point where we're comfortable with 2 general plans that they can take out and begin to get input on. Did I cover everything on process?
2 things. One is that you had asked, the board had asked for me to post the 5 town hall meetings as board meetings. Not that you're going to discuss anything, but that you all wanted to be there.
Correct. That is important. Obviously, under the Open Meetings Act, if we have a quorum present, that needs to be posted as a regular meeting. So those 5 town hall meetings, in the event we have more than 4 or more board members there, we will call them to order as a board meeting and then turn it over to the moderator. So we can have board members there hearing that input as well.
And the second thing, sir, was we had spread out the 4 town meetings, but the board asked us to bunch them up together at the beginning in case the input indicated you did want to come back. You wanted to make certain there was more town meeting times in case the board wanted to go out again.
And lastly, the one thing we want everybody to know, if we move along our current timeline, any decisions with made to consolidation would be made probably at our February regular board meeting. Those consolidations are obviously going to result in rezoning issues with respect to attendance zones. We'd begin to take those up in March. So hopefully by spring, by March, every parent in the district will know what campuses we have and where their child is zoned to go to school next fall. And that's the timeline we're working under. So, and with that, Dr. Kane, I will turn it over to you and the proposals as they currently exist.
Yes, sir. As we left the last meeting, I believe it was around 11 o'clock, we had a plan that we turned into color names because we didn't want a Plan 1 or Plan 2 because it would sound like Plan 1 may be preferred, or a Plan A or B because it may sound like Plan A. So we came up with orange and green. It must have been late. I don't know why we would pick those colors. But so when I look at the 2 plans, what I did was the 2 plans that are similar is what is on the screen. In both plans, we are recommending that the board transition all 5th graders to elementary schools and that all 6th graders go to middle school campuses, which would be, we would repurpose Lake Air. In both plans, we consolidate the Montessori schools into a single Montessori program at Lake Air. In both proposals, we close Sul Ross and consolidate those students into Bells Hill and West. In both proposals, we close North Waco and consolidate those students into Provident, Dean Highland, and Cedar Ridge. In both proposals, we make Carver a neighborhood attendance zoned middle school. In both proposals, we consolidate the alternative school campus and STARS at the former Doris Miller building. And in both proposals, we close the building of A.J. Moore, but we move the A.J. Moore campus and academies, bless you, sir, to University High School, and the A.J. Moore ROT program would move to Waco High School. Now, the difference is, as I